Welcome again to another Skip Boom Masters video tutorial. In this video tutorial, I am going to be playing as Odin. In this video tutorial, I'm not explaining how to play Odin precisely. It's actually a video's beginner's guide to Smite. Because I feel that there are certain things that they don't explain in the YouTube video guide that developers put out that are quite important to the gameplay of this game. So I'm going to be explaining those in this video. And maybe, hopefully, later on, I'll start up a beta key contest of some sort. I haven't decided on that yet. And if you want me to or any sort, just leave comments in the YouTube, my YouTube channel or whatever, and I'll consider it. Like, I'm considering it right now, but I'm not sure about it. But yeah. Now, Smite's an interesting game. If you ever played any games like League of Legends and DOTA or DOTA 2, then you know how this game works. The only difference between those games and this game is, in this game, as you can see, it's third-person perspective. You're not looking over the battlefield, which makes it kind of interesting, in all opinion. Anyways, there are a few things I want to explain in this video tutorial of the beginner's guide that's not explained in any guide at the moment. Not to my knowledge. There might be some out there that do. One of which is that when you're attacking, you slow down, which is kind of important in all opinion. You know, you attack, you slow down, which means if you're a DPS character, it's really easy for your target to get out of range of you, especially if you're melee like I am. Another thing to note is that when you're backing up, you're actually going slower compared to if you're going forward. As you can see that here, I'm actually going slower backing up more significantly. That's important because if you're being chased and you want to face your enemies who are chasing you, this is very important because I've noticed that people start backing up like this, thinking, oh, well, they'll never catch up to me, and they do catch up to them and they get the kill on you. If you're not worried of dying, then it's okay, but if you're worried of dying, just turn around and walk away like that. You'll actually end up surviving better and living. Yeah, you want to live, baby. But yeah, that's basics. Another thing that's important to point out is the fog of war in this game. The fog of war is not, how do I point it out, different. In a fog of war in other games, if you cannot see the enemy within your radius, you cannot see them all. In this game, as you can see in my mini-map over there, if I back up enough, the enemies will disappear from my mini-map. No, they won't because Hades there, never mind. But no, if they back up, they're not on the minimap, but I can still see them. How the Fog of War works in this is that if they're in their radius, they show up in your minimap. But if you can see them in the distance, you can see them on your screen, but none of your allies will be able to see it on their screens or on their minimap. That's actually quite important to point out, because you can actually stop ganking by actually looking over there in the jungle, and just by looking over in the jungle, you'll be like, whoa, there's someone coming, but he's not on your minimap yet, which can allow you to get away without dying. Now, since I'm talking about jungles and your minimap radius, I will point out that Odin, his minimap radius thing is twice as big as compared to a normal champion, or god in this game. Which means if there's an enemy over there in that attack buff, if I stand right here, I can still see him. If I have an enemy over to the side and I'm like this, I can see him over there in that jungle. That is very important to note about this game and Odin, especially if you're jungling and you're trying to counter jungle their jungle, and the enemy team has an Odin. That is very important to note. That's very important to take notice of, because it will get you killed if you don't pay attention to it.
been slain.
Now there's something I want to point out in this video guide. If you're standing right here on the side of your turret and these minions come up, you can actually at certain times get stuck.
Your right tower is under attack. Your team has destroyed.
That is very problematic. Trust me, it is. But yeah, I think enemies went over there to get the red buff, attack buff, whatever you want to call it.
Enemy missing
Nope,
middle.
didn't touch it. Alright, here I want to point out important key bindings. If you push R, you can look at what killed you and who killed you. If you push I, you open up the store. If you push K, you open up your abilities window. If you push the numbers lock, you will go forward without pushing the W. If you push the enter button, you will open chat. If you push P, you'll be able to look at your stats. And lastly, if you push B, you will return to the store where I just was at. Another thing I'd like to point out is the fire giant in this game, the buffs. The fire giant adds a considerable buff to the whole team, just like the Baron in League of Legends provides a buff to the whole team. He increases your magic, power, and gives you health regeneration. He can turn the tide of a battle again for you and crush your enemies. He can be very key. The fire giant buff can be very key in late game. I think that's very important to emphasize for people who are new to this game, very new to this game. Also, the other buffs that you can find in this game besides the fire giant, which is health regen, attack buff, shield buff, these all increase attributes of your abilities in some way or another, which can be helpful later on. Now, the very last thing I want to discuss in this video is the ability to hear sound of people who are out of your distance. What I mean by that is you could have someone on the other side of a wall who's away from you, and he could technically not be on your mini-map, but you could hear him. Now, this can become very handy if you have someone who is stealing one of the buffs in your jungle or is trying to counter-attack you. Well, I mean gank you, not counter. Well, I guess you could consider counting as too. It's very debatable. Certain things you can hear, certain things you can't, other things you can't hear. But it's very useful to keep that in mind, that if you're on the other side of the wall and your enemy's on the other side, even though they can't see you on the mini-map, they might be able to hear you. So that's very important to keep in mind when in an enemy's jungle or trying to gank them. Also, attacking something like that can cause sound so they can hear you. Besides that, that's pretty much everything I wanted to point out in this beginner's guide. I really didn't want to talk about tactics so much because it depends on your playstyle, which determines your tactics and strategy in this game. I just wanted to point out certain things that are technically pointed out that are important. I know there was a lot of times I was confused to how an enemy knew where I was, even though he couldn't see me on the minimap, or I couldn't see him on the minimap. And that had to do with learning the curve on sound. This has been a Skip Boo's Master Beginner's Guide on Smite, and I'll see you later, folks.
Come fight me! My raven shall feast on eyeballs and entrails!
Can you defeat a mind such as mine?